Hey there. Welcome back to another episode of the Profitable Mindset Podcast.
Welcome to the Profitable Mindset, a show dedicated to teaching you the skills you need to build a profitable product-based business that makes you feel free and fully in control. Here is your host, Charlotte Smith.
You guys, I can't believe it. I made it into the top 200 podcasts in iTunes in business in the management and marketing category. And this is just the first week of the podcast. Holy cow. I appreciate you guys and your help so much. I did not do this without you. Keep those reviews coming too, because that's what helps the algorithm know that I have something that can help farmers, and it gets me in front of the people who need this information the most. So thanks for your part in this. Super appreciative. Now, this week, I continue going in depth on the 25 steps to start and set up your farm business. But first, I want to highlight a listener review, just in case you're wondering if you should take the time to listen in to these episodes. So here's what one listener had to say this weekend. It was Salty Dog, and starts out by saying, Charlotte is freaking awesome. Now, I can't believe I just read that out loud to thousands of people, but that's awesome. Salty Dog continues to say, I can raise and grow anything, but in no way, shape, or form am I a good marketer. I have learned more in the past few months listening to and applying what Charlotte teaches than I have in all the time I've spent on any other instructors. I don't care what anyone says. Marketing a direct sale to customer farm is a lot different than just about any other business. She has practical knowledge with practical solutions. Thank you, Salty Dog. This is wonderful. I wish I knew your name. I love on Instagram when you could click in the bio and actually find out who the person is, and iTunes is so anonymous, but I really appreciate the reviews you guys are leaving. It's just wonderful to be able to know that I have that kind of support with you. Now, I also want to mention that I just got back from Pikeville, Kentucky, where I led an all-day workshop on marketing there. And I even learned how to pronounce it like the locals, right? Pikeville, Kentucky, instead of Pikeville. Although I know I still sound like an outsider. I'm not trying to say that I sound like a local yet, although I would love to. We were deep in the Appalachian Mountains, and it is such a beautiful country there. They even took me out for a little moonshine tasting after the marketing class, of course, where I had a little bit of the legal stuff and a little bit of the illegal stuff, and both were excellent, although I can't handle very much alcohol. So it really, truly was like the tiniest taste ever. But that's what you got to do when you're in Kentucky. Okay, so now we're ready. I'm going to dive back into the 25 steps to start and set up your farm business. These first few episodes are all part of a series where I go in depth explaining each step. So make sure you get the whole checklist at 3cowmarketing.com/25 steps so you can follow along and even take notes if you want. And this is for you if you're a brand new farmer, or even if you're just within the first 5 years or so of your business. Chances are there are some things in this checklist that you missed. So this is that exact checklist I wish I'd had when I was starting out 10 years ago. Like I've said before, it would have saved me so much time and money and stress and anxiety and everything that goes along with making all those mistakes in a business. Well, I'm going to dive back in now where I left off, which was on step 15, and that is to set up your email marketing account. Now, what I mean by this is you're probably on an email list from some company where you get an email once a week or maybe even once a day promoting their product, right? And that could be a favorite of mine is MailChimp. Just go sign up for a MailChimp account. It's free for the first 1,000 subscribers. The reason you have to have this is it's illegal to send sales emails out of your personal email account. Now, you're not alone if you've been doing this. Most farmers who come to me for consulting or they join my class for the first time, they are blind copying people out of their personal email account, or they're just copy and pasting the emails of people when they have something to sell. And that's worked for them till now. But it is against anti-spam laws, and you will get caught eventually. I get the emails from farmers when they say, hey, I've been emailing people for years, and all of a sudden my account's blocked. I can't get in. What happened? It's because it finally caught up with them. So it might take months or years, but they do eventually track you down, and you can face fines or just face getting your email account shut down. So just go to MailChimp, get that set up. We teach you how to do that step by step too. I'm going to link to my free email marketing training on that in the show notes too. But just make sure you get that set up. It is way more efficient. All right. There are so many reasons you'll want to do that. And that's a step that a lot of people skip, and it will help you save time. And plus, it'll just make you legal. So get that set up. Now, since I talked about 16 last week, because sometimes I like to do things my own way out of order, I'm going to jump to step number 17. And this is to create a business email address. For an example, it will be info@yourfarmname.com. So mine is info@3cowmarketing.com. Or it might be Charlotte@3cowmarketing.com. Don't use a regular Gmail address. It's just not as professional looking. It's also more likely that your emails will be sent to spam if you're using Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever other email address you might be using. So set up the professional one. Now, you want to do this through the company that you purchased your domain name through. Remember, we went through that a couple episodes back. So go to that same company and get your business email address, or you can visit gsuite.google.com and get that set up. So you look profesh and get your email marketing set up. Those two go just right together. Then next is step number 18. Find images you can use legally for marketing purposes. You're going to need images for all sorts of things in your business. Your website, signage, brochures, maybe even little business cards. And if you're unable to take pictures yourself, and I mean high quality pictures, or you won't hire a photographer, or you can't, you can use free stock images too until you get some of your own. For instance, some of my students are flower farmers, and they're taking a class from me, last winter, and they did not have images of their own flowers yet because it was the middle of winter. So they're going to get those images this summer, but as they set up their websites in class, they were able to go to places like unsplash.com and find some stock images. Now, some are free and some might be $1 each. It is way better than getting a huge $10,000 legal bill for the unauthorized use of copyrighted images. So you can't just jump on Google and find some images and use them. There's a good chance you'll get caught. You don't know for sure whose that is. And I've heard so many horror stories of people being tracked down and having lawsuits against them. So don't let that be you. And it is quite all right to use stock images until you can get some good ones of your own. Then that leads us to step number 19. And this is to get professional pictures taken for your website and graphics. Now, this is really important. If you want to take your website from mediocre to very high quality, this one thing, just getting professional pictures, will be a big part of that. In my research, I look at hundreds of farm websites a year, and I see a lot of photos that are unprofessional. They're dark, they're grainy, they're out of focus. They just aren't the quality that people expect to see online today. So when it is so easy to get a high quality website up. Remember, I talked about that in episode 2. It's so easy to do that today and so much less cumbersome than years ago that is what the public expects. And if they land on an old, outdated website And don't worry, I got you covered. We can teach you how to get a pretty website up for free. No worries about that. But that is what people searching the web expect. So you've got to get some professional pictures. They just don't tolerate old looking pictures. It makes you look more professional when they land on a website with professional pictures. Now, there's a few ways to do this. When I started out 10 years ago, I would trade for professional photos. I had a photographer friend and I traded half a pig for a photo shoot. And then the next year, I traded a quarter beef for a photo shoot. I like to do these about once a year. So I always have some cool pictures for my website and my graphics and product photos, etc. So I traded product for photos. The other thing is we have a university near us, and I called the graphic design department there, and they had students who would give anything to be able to come out to our farm and shoot farm animals in their farm setting just for practice or for a project they were working on in class. And they would always give me these images for free. So it was just trading the time walking them around the farm. And then I would get like 20 images for free. It was always really awesome. So I did that for a lot of our sessions as well. And then now I'm giving you like the 10-year evolution of photography on my farm. So then I went out and I bought a pretty fancy digital camera. And I studied photography and what I mean by studied is I looked at professional photographers and tried to recreate what they were doing. And I played around with Lightroom, editing it and all that. And that was okay. But you know what? That is really time consuming. And I realized it was better to trade product for a professional rather than try to learn that myself. It just wasn't the highest and best use of my time. However, if you are a good photographer, go for it. I just want you to think about making sure your website looks sophisticated and upscale and the pictures are very high quality. That is what our customers and our potential customers expect. And so that's why I want to encourage you to get those professional photos done. And just know that if you don't have the money to lay out for that, figure out how you can trade for it. And maybe it's not product. Maybe there's something else you can trade. Post on Facebook and your community. I'll bet you can figure something out. Or like I said, talk with a local university and see if they have a graphic design department and someone interested in doing that for you. Now we get to step 20, which is to start a community using social media. At first, especially if you're a brand new farmer, I would love for you to choose just one social media platform that you enjoy. It's very likely going to be Facebook or Instagram, but make sure it's a place where your customers and your potential customers are. For me, the first would be Facebook because I have a lot more of my customers who use Facebook. And the second place would be Instagram. Even though I love Instagram a lot more, and personally, I spend more time on Instagram looking for mainly personal things, redecorating my house and ideas like that. My customers are on Facebook, so that's what I would choose first. So make sure you think through that process of where are your customers or potential customers. And a lot of it might have to do with perhaps their age range and their interests, etc. So you can find that out by asking them. You'll just find out and looking for them. Look for them on those social media platforms and ask them which one they prefer. Now, the reason I want you to choose just one is it's really important to do them well. And if you get more than one at first and you're trying to get everything else set up that we've talked about, you will struggle to be really good at either one of them. It requires lots of posting on social media. I recommend if you're on Facebook or Instagram that you're posting at least 5 times a week. And I have a whole free training on Instagram, 9 Steps to Profit on Instagram. So I will link up to that in the show notes. One of the things I mentioned in there that you get more reach and you show up in front of many more of your potential customers, the more comments you do, the more engagement you have. So you have to spend time commenting. And I go over that in the free training more in depth, but that takes time. I like to play by the 10 by 30 rule where I leave 10 comments a day for 30 days. And then I notice my followers are growing and my reach is increasing. That means the number of people that my posts show up in front of increases all the time the more I comment. So that takes time. That's why I want you to focus on just one or the other. And also remember that the social platform is to be social. It's not to sell. The algorithm, you will get penalized by the algorithm if you try to sell. The algorithm can identify keywords and phrases you're using, like click the link in bio, click here to purchase, or find out how to buy over on the website, buy here, sale, all those phrases. The algorithm knows you're trying to sell something and you will be penalized and you won't reach as many people. And then not only that, it takes you a few posts following that to build that reach up again. So if I do have a sales post, I know that I have to take the next week or even 2 weeks of posts to try to rebuild that. So make sure you're using it for the right reasons, which is to build engagement and a connection with people and to be of service so that they will funnel over to your email list where you can build a more consistent relationship with them and eventually sell to them there. So you want your sales posts on social media to be very, very small percentage of what you do, maybe 5% or so. So again, I have a whole training. I'm going to do a webinar on this summer, and I've got the free training I'll link up to, but I want you to get social media marketing in place for your farm. But again, just start out with one. And when you get really good at that one and you're posting 5 days a week and you're able to leave 5 or 10 comments a day, every day, and your followers are growing and your email list is growing, then start with the second one. Otherwise, you will just be scattered too thin and you won't be really good at either one. So you guys, that wraps up episode 4. We have one more episode left in the 25 steps to start and set up your farm business. And you can get the whole checklist at 3cowmarketing.com/25 steps. Because my podcast is new, I'm asking all of you to write a review on iTunes for me. And if you do write a review, you'll be entered into a weekly drawing for a free consultation reviewing either your website or your social media account, where I'll give you feedback during our time together on things you can improve upon to increase your sales and your followers. If you want to enter that, and I would love it if you would do this for me, just go to 3cowmarketing.com/iTunes. That page will take you through the whole process of leaving the review on iTunes, which is super easy. It just takes a couple steps. Then it's just going to ask you for a little bit of information so we can identify which review you wrote. Then you'll be entered into the weekly raffle and you'll have a chance to work with me for free. And there is nothing more fun than that. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you next time where we will wrap up the 25 steps. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For more great resources, check out theprofitablemindset.com. See you next time.